Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Monday. Today is March the 4th. And if you guys know, the Lord has spoken to me about 34 so many times, 34. And I actually did a word on what he gave me as the meaning for 34 and his promises being fulfilled. So if you didn't catch that word, I'm going to link it in the comment section below this word so you can go watch it. But today is March 4th, and that's all I could think of is 34, how God just kept giving me 34, and he had me get on and release a word and tell you guys what he meant by the number 34. And all of that good stuff. So I won't get into it, but it was a very, very in-depth word. So I will link that in the comment section below for those that want to go back and watch that word. But the Lord spoke to me yesterday in the wee hours of the morning, and I just recorded what he was speaking to me. So I'm going to play that recording on my cell phone, and hopefully this laptop picks up the recording. I could have just reworded everything, but I really want you guys to listen to it from the recording because God was speaking it to me yesterday morning as I was speaking it into my phone. And I just feel like there's so much fire and power in the words as they are already spoken, because I was just listening to him speak to my heart and speak to me. And I was recording half asleep, but I was recording, and I don't want to lose the fire, if that makes sense. There's just so much fire that I feel when I listen to the recording, but I was literally recording what God was speaking to me in that very moment. So I'm going to let you guys listen to what the Lord is saying in this hour. God will allow us to go through intensive battles as we're standing for the promises and the things that He's spoken to us. And one of the reasons is because once we get the things that He promised, because they're not going to return to Him void, He's going to fulfill it, but then we'll be appreciative of them, we'll appreciate them more, and we'll hold on to them with everything in us because we'll remember how hard and intense the fight was to get where we are. We'll remember the pain we went through, the battles, the warfare, and we will hold on to everything with a tight grip so that the enemy does not even have a chance to try to snatch any part of it because God has taught us how to fight spiritually so well. Guys, and I hope that came out clear. I won't be able to hear it until I go back and listen to this recording. But there was building in the breaking. There was building in the breaking. The Lord had to break you, but there was building in that breaking. He was building character within you. He was building faith within you. He was building strength within you. He was building perseverance within you. He was building fight within you. So there was building in the breaking. There was building in the breaking. God wanted to make sure that everything that shouldn't have been attached to you, whether spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever way, anything that was attached to you that shouldn't have been, he needed to break it away. But there was building in the breaking. He wanted to plant you on a solid foundation. And while many of us feel like we went through the fight of our lives, now we know how to fight back spiritually. This fight is not physically. Even though there were people involved that we truly loved and cared for that came against us, this is not a physical fight. We don't wrestle against each other, but against what? Darkness and principalities in high places. Those are two separate things. Darkness and principalities in high places. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood. So this fight was never physical. But now that God has taught you to war spiritually, you know how to pray, you know how to fast, you know how to stand firm, regardless of what's going on around you. There was building in the breaking. He had to tear everything down and rebuild. And that's hard. That takes work. It takes patience. It takes dedication. You feel exhausted, but there was building in the breaking. And he was the one doing all the building, but he had to break you in order to build. And you had to hold his hand and walk hand in hand with him. So even though he was building, you were still feeling it because you were the one being built up from the ground up. And for him to build you up, come on, Holy Spirit, for him to build you up from the ground up, you have to have hit rock bottom. For someone to start building from the ground up, they have to start at rock bottom in order to plant that foundation. And you felt like you had hit rock bottom because you did. But he needed you, and I posted this in my community tab, he needed you to fall and hit rock bottom so that you can understand that he is the rock at the bottom that's been waiting for you, that's been waiting to plant you firmly on a solid foundation. The world couldn't do that for you. The things that you were seeking and lusting after and running after, and the validation that you were seeking from man, it was never going to fill you. God had to break you in order to build you. And I pray that you guys are listening to me spiritually and with a receptive heart. He had to break you in order to build you. And for so many of you, you're still going through that building process. It's okay. When God is done, that mansion is going to be beautiful. When God breaks and he builds, he doesn't break and just build a duplex or something small. He does exceedingly above all that you can ask, think, or imagine. We talked about this yesterday. Job didn't have a promise attached to the pain that he was going through. God never said, this is what I'm getting ready to allow to happen to you, but this is what I'm going to do after. I'm going to bless you with double. God never came to him and told him that. He was literally just standing firm because he knew his father would redeem him, but he didn't have a promise that he was standing for. He didn't know anything. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't know why God was allowing him to go through that, but there was building in his breaking, double for his trouble, and he stood firm. You guys know that there's a promise attached to it. And Job's story just tells us that with or without a promise, you should stand firm because God is your redeemer. You should stand firm because you know who God is. You should stand firm because you know his character. You should stand firm because God is the only way. There should not be a standing firm because of a promise. He is the promise, capital T, capital P. The promise died on the cross for you and for me. That's enough. It has nothing to do with your finances getting better, your housing situation getting better, your marriage getting better, your children getting better. It has nothing to do with that, but everything to do with your relationship with God being built on a solid foundation. So just like Job, even if there's no promise attached, you should stand firm. Job was getting weary too. He didn't stand perfectly, but he waited well. He waited well. God is not asking for perfection. Just know who he is in the midst of it, in the midst of the breaking, because he had to break you in order to build you. There was building in the breaking. There was building in the breaking. And for many of you guys, you shouldn't, I know that it's easy. Let me actually back up. What the Lord brought me back to when I had recorded this message for you guys yesterday morning is how, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of African-American households, including mine, my mom used to get mad when she would purchase something brand new and we would ruin it. As kids, as teenagers or whatever, like a couch or whatever, we would break it or ruin it or get marks on it. And she would always say, and she still says it to this day, people aren't going to take care of something that they didn't buy. They'll only take care of it if they're the ones that spent the money on it and took the time to get it. They'll take care of it if they worked hard for it and it's something that they really wanted. They'll steward it well. They'll take care of it. She's like, but you guys break everything in this house and it's because you didn't pay for it, right? And God brought me back to that. And he said, he had to allow you to go through the struggles and the storms that you went through. He had to allow you to lose everything and work hard for everything that he's about to bless you with so that when he gives it to you, you know how to steward it well. You know how to handle it well. It means a lot to you. You're not just going to let anybody just tamper with it or play with it or handle it recklessly. You worked hard for it. You fought spiritually. You had to stand firm. You had a lot of nights where you couldn't sleep and you were praying and you were fasting and it's been hard. So because of that, you're going to care for it the way that it should be cared for. But like my mom said, if you didn't pay for it or work hard for it, you're not going to take care of it because you don't know what it took to get it. God wanted you to know what it took for you to get to where he's about to take you. He wanted you to remember what it took to get through those doors that he's about to open, because now you know how to take care of it and steward it properly. God had to see how you can handle the little before he grants you with much. So for many of you, you've been seeing blessings here and there, but none of it has been the big things that you've been waiting for. But God was watching you to see how you steward these so-called little blessings. He wanted to see how you handle your little finances. He wanted to see how you tithe, how you sow into other people, how you pray and cover other people, regardless of what you're going through. He likes to see how you steward the little so that he can bless you with much. But he had to break you in order to build you, because now you know what it takes to get to this place he's taking you to, what it takes to get through these doors, what these reconciliations take, what these restorations take, and you're going to hold on to it way tighter than you would have had he just given it to you, and you didn't have to work for it. You didn't have to tussle for it. You wouldn't know how to steward it properly had he not broken you in order to build you. Don't look at what other people have going on right now. You shouldn't want the things that you see, what everybody else has. Lord, bless me with what they have. Let me get to that level. You shouldn't want what you could see. Let me say that. You shouldn't want what you could see, what everybody else has. You should want the unseen that you get when you stand on faith and believe God for the impossible. That's what you should want. Stop looking at the marriages going on around you, how their relationship looks, the house they just got built. No, don't want what you could see. Faith is believing in the unseen. So if you have faith for what you're praying to God for, what you prayed for that he's told you he would do, you should want it to look different than everybody else around you, than what they have, even though what they have, it looks great. Nah, I don't want what I can see. I want the impossible. I want what God hasn't even created yet. I want the marriage that no one has seen yet. I want the house that no one has laid eyes on yet. I want the financial status that no one has. And I know that I want all of this so that I can pour back into God's kingdom. It's not even about me. And that should be the way you look at things, guys. And I know sometimes the simple things that we desire in life seem so unattainable. And with that feeling, we begin to settle for the things that our small minds can comprehend and understand. We begin to lean on our own understanding as opposed to allowing God to do the impossible that he already promised you. Don't go by what your small mind is capable of understanding or what you feel is attainable. God wants to do the unattainable for you because he's the God of impossible. Trust him. Trust him. That's the word, guys. That's the word. That is the word, y'all. Yep. That's all. That's all. Enlarge your territory, expand your influence, and increase your capacity to walk in faith. Enlarge your territory, expand your influence, and increase your capacity to walk in faith. There was building in the breaking. There was building in the breaking. And this morning, I get these words of the days emailed to my Gmail. I don't even know how I started receiving word of the day emails, but I get them to my Gmail. And today, the word of the day was proficuous. Proficuous. And proficuous literally means profitable, useful, right? Profitable, useful. And the first thing that I thought of when I saw this word of the day was Philemon, or Philemon, however people want to pronounce it. People pronounce it differently. But Philemon or Philemon 1 verse 11. There goes that 111. 1 verse 11. And I'm going to read from the King James Version. And it says, which in time past was to thee unprofitable, but now profitable to thee and to me. Which in times past was to thee unprofitable, but now profitable to thee and to me. The Lord is saying in this verse, what you once deemed as unbeneficial, it does not, it's not profitable for you, right? What you once deemed as useless is now coming back, and it's going to be profitable and useful for him and for you. For him and for you. And that's for somebody. That is for somebody. I'm going to read it in the NIV version. It says, formerly he was useless to you, but now he has become useful both to you and to me. Some of this verse is tied to other people, and this word to other people for many of you. They had to go through a breaking to be built up by God as well. And you haven't been able to see that breaking. You think they've just been living the life, but they haven't. And it's none of your business, the process that God was taking these people through. But he's saying formerly, like in the past, these people or this person was useless to you, right? They weren't beneficial. But now this person is useful and beneficial for both you and for God. Okay? It was never about you. It's about this person being useful for the kingdom of God. God is saying this once this person or people, whoever this is for you, catch this word, that was once useless, unprofitable, unbeneficial to you, has become very useful and profitable, proficuous to you and to God. So as these people return into your lives, don't look at their past. God has done a new thing. You don't need to know what they went through or what that process was like, but they were once useless and unbeneficial to you, but now they are proficuous, as my word of the day states. They're profitable and useful, not just for you, but also for God. That is the word, guys. I love you. Have a great Monday, and we'll talk soon. Bye.